So, have you been feeling anything lately or been feeling like there's a leap that you should be taking, or are you wanting to make a change in your life, but you're kind of scared? Stay tuned because I have a really amazing message from Spirit to share with you today. Welcome back. My name's Angie, and I am your soul alignment mentor. And I am here to bring intuitive messages to help you align with your highest self, purpose, and passion. So many people on the earth right now are ascending. They're moving into a new frequency, a new understanding of who they are and who people around them are, and the world in general. The entire earth is shifting in a frequency. And many people are waking up into a new consciousness of who they are. They're releasing old ideas, old beliefs, the things that they have maybe lived for prior, and starting to see things a little bit differently. Part of that is the global spiritual awakening that has happened, where people are starting to look at what they have believed prior to this time and starting to question it, starting to kind of wake up to some truths of maybe what hasn't always been the truth that they have been taught. And one of the things that can be difficult in awakening is that awakening often forces us into healing. And healing, like true healing, if you have been on this path at all, is not an easy process, because in the true awakening process, the healing that comes with it will actually push you into some of the deepest and darkest core parts of your beliefs, the core parts of your traumas, the core parts of your pain that is stored in your body. And in order to release those, you have to spend time with them. And this is something that we have avoided for many, 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 many years. Not just us here that are living on earth now. This has been a pattern that has been in place for thousands of years, really. And so we're coming into a new frequency and a new understanding of the process of healing. And it's just not our spiritual understanding. We're actually beginning to change the way we think in our body as well. People are beginning to change the way they eat. They're feeling this urge to change something as far as the way they are treating their body. People are moving more towards being in nature. I don't know. For myself, I have not gone to the gym in almost 2 years. And it's not because I don't like to work out, it's because I prefer to be outside now. And I know that in being outside, my body benefits because I get to ground my energy with nature, because nature is just, it just has the frequency that we need in our bodies to not only ground, but to heal our bodies. And in the healing, we also are able to reconnect with our true self and our higher self. And so in this ascension that many of us are going through, where we're waking up or going through a spiritual awakening, we're being kind of pushed into a new way of thinking, a new desires are even coming up in us. And many of us are kind of opening up to maybe what might be our purpose and our passion of what we're here on earth to do. If you, I actually just watched a video about this today. A friend sent it to me. And it's really, I love rewatching these kind of things, because they're just reminders for me. And each time I listen, I hear something new. I hear something different. And so one of the things that my guide said recently, I hold a women circle twice a month. And in the last women's circle, I was channeling spirit, and spirit came through and talked about how one of the ways that we grow, one of the ways we heal, is that we always have to be open to receiving new information. Without allowing ourselves to receive new, we cannot let go of the old. But the ego is constantly trying to hold on to old patterns, the old beliefs, because they feel safe, they feel comfortable within those old beliefs. However, when we stay in the old, we're unable to ascend into the new frequencies that we're working on doing as we're awakening into our higher self. And so what's really interesting is Spirit has continued to speak, at least through me, and when I'm channeling and when I'm getting intuitive messages about um, paying more attention to our thoughts, to the way we treat ourselves, to the way we think. And so all these things come into place when we are looking towards maybe what our purpose is on this earth, maybe what we're meant to be doing with this life and why we came here at this time. And there is there's a group of volunteers that have come to the earth at this time to help in this ascension, to help in the awakening. And you will see many of them stepping into being spiritual teachers. You will see many of them stepping into being a healer. A lot of people are being called into that next stage of their life where they're letting go of the old part of their identity, as far as like what they did as a job, or even in like friendship groups or in the family structure. And part of that means that you have to let go of things that really have been a huge part of your life. And this can cause some fear, because there's the fear of unknown. There's the fear of what are people going to think? There's the fear of what do I do next? There's the fear of, will this work out if I take this leap? And in our human understanding, in this mind that we have, it makes complete sense to think in fear, because we were programmed to think in fear. We are programmed to worry about what that next step is and whether we're ready to take it or if it's going to work out. And so I have been tuning into spirit a lot recently, just trying to get some clarity and messages about, what do we need to do to release the old to step into new? How do we let go of that old programming and trust that we're going to take this leap and that we're going to land on our feet, or something is going to work out in our highest good if we're feeling called to do something? And I got a really great message from Spirit last night that I want to share with you. And I wrote it down in my phone. And I shared this with one of my clients last night that I was talking to, because we were talking about just some strange synchronicities that are happening right now between people. And when I started to realize that some people we were all kind of going through the same thing right now, I got curious. And so I tuned in and I asked my guides if they could give me a message. And I don't think this message is just for me. And that's why I'm going to share this with you all, because I think it's a way to help us understand why we might feel the way we do now, or why we're having a hard time letting go of fear and stepping into that next phase of our life, really. So I'm going to just read what I wrote, and this is just a channeled message. I do channel spirit, and so if you are a lady and you would like to join our women's circle, we have a call this coming Thursday. Tomorrow's the 17th, and so 18, it would be the 20th. So July 20th. If you want to grab that link, I will drop it below wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on the podcast or on YouTube. Just go ahead and find that link and you can come to that circle for free. After that, if you would like to continue with us, it is only $47 a month. And I'm keeping it at that price for now, just because I want to open this up to as many women as possible, because I think it's a really crucial time for us to really align with our highest self. So let me just read this to you. And this is what Spirit said to me, and it helped me. So I'm hopeful that it will help you as well. Spirit said, believe in the miracles of death, because it is with death that birth happens. And I will explain some of this after I read this, because it can kind of sound a little different if you don't know exactly what the Spirit is saying. So, without death, new life cannot begin. The death you see is not the death of the flesh, but the death of the mind, the death of the limits that have held you in the past. Without the death, the new cannot be birthed. Each step is only revealed by taking the one in front of you. You cannot show, we cannot, we as in the guides, as spirit, our spirit teams, we cannot show you every step at once because you would not be living as you desire to live when you chose to be a human. A part of the human experience is learning to trust the divine within. Walk by faith, not by sight, means taking one step at a time until you see the finish line. It requires trust and unknown patience in the direction being taken. But once you take the first step, the next will be revealed. Many are in the process of running from their intuition because the intuition can cause fear. But the fear is only the illusion of the mind because fear is not real. Fear is what is made up in the human mind. When you let go of fear, you let go of the thought that there isn't enough love for your heart or there is not enough space for your guidance to lead you forward in the right path. Only you can take that step. Let go of fear and let go of the past. Align with the present moment and move forward with your life as it will come to you in the very next step. And so what Spirit is saying, which I thought it was interesting, it started out with talking about death. And as I read that, I didn't think about this when I got the message, but I just did think about this. In the tarot, there is a death card. And the death represents an ending and a new beginning. The death means letting go of something so new, something new can come in. And I'm also thinking about the tower within the tarot. The tower means that like a sudden ending or a sudden, the tower can sometimes be really hard just because it can be a shock. But with the death, it's kind of like a known thing. Sometimes it can be a known thing that is coming. There's a known ending that is on its way. And so what Spirit is trying to say here is that many of us know there must be endings in our life with certain things or certain people or certain activities or certain, and this is what Spirit is talking about. And this is our mindset, is the way we think. And so Spirit's explaining to us that death is not the end, but the ability to birth something new. Because without the death, you cannot birth the new. And so with that new step, that new beginning that Spirit is talking about, that will take place with a death or an ending in your life, it will be through taking that first step to move past that, to move from the old into the new, that you will be that the next step will be revealed. And so what was interesting is there's a Bible verse actually. I believe it's in 2 Corinthians that says, "Walk by faith, not by sight." And so the guides actually used that in this message, and they explained that they cannot show us the next step without us taking a step first. And they also said that we cannot show you every step. Like they can't show us the entire picture of where we might be going because that would be going against the actual human will. It would be against the reason we chose to be a human on earth at this time, because in many ways the reason and purpose we came to earth was to be separate from our highest self, from our truth, to grow and learn. And so we came to earth with the purpose of somewhat forgetting who we are, so that in the process of awakening, especially now with this global awakening, we could remember. But in the remembering, we also have the old programming of our mind that is keeping us stuck in old thoughts and old patterns. And it's going to be through the death of those old patterns and those old thoughts that we move into the new. And once we take that very first step to move forward in whatever it is that we're feeling called to do or to move forward to, they will be able to help reveal the next step. And this is where it gets really scary. And that's why they also said, which I love that they said this, they said that humanity will fear their intuition. I find this so interesting that they say this, because it is the battle between the mind and the spirit. The intuition is our spirit pulling us forward. The mind is going to look at the intuitive pull, the intuitive thought, the intuitive hit that we get, or a ping, whatever you want to call it, and begin to analyze it and begin to look at it and try to figure out, is this a rational step? Is this a good idea? Does this make sense in my human understanding? Will I get the result I desire if I do this? However, intuition, our spirit, will likely cause us or push us towards something that feels really uncertain and really unseen and unknown. And so it can provoke fear in the ego. And in the ego is where our old mindset is where our patterns, the old behaviors, the old beliefs, the things that we have repeated over and over in our lives, the lessons that we are here to learn that maybe we haven't learned yet. But in this time, in this moment, as many of us are being pulled into this new, and we're attempting to grow and ascend, we're being challenged to let go of these parts of ourselves, because they cannot go with us into the higher frequency, because these old mindsets, these old programmings, the limiting beliefs that we might have that are programmed into the ego are low frequency and vibrations. And low frequency cannot move into high frequency. And if you listen back a couple episodes, I talk more about that frequency change, and I use like an outlet, like an electrical outlet as an example. So I encourage you to go back and listen to that, because I won't go into that too much. But part of that is the old programming, the old energy, the dense, dark heaviness of those old things having to be released, the death of those things, to allow us to ascend into the new. And the new purpose and the new calling that we have isn't in a much higher frequency. And it's a different way of doing life. It's a different way of viewing life. It's a different way of serving humanity, really. And so when we allow ourselves to die to the old, step into the new, and trust and walk by faith, not by sight, not by the things we can see or we can comprehend with our ego mind and our eyes, we begin to open up the opportunity for basically the manifestation of probably things that are really deep in our heart to do. Like, our spirit came for a purpose. Many of us volunteers on the earth to help ascend the frequency of the earth and humanity. And so we're trying to step into that frequency now. Many of the people that are being called to the spiritual teachers or the healers and things, they are feeling this pressure to take that next step and that next leap, because it is time to move into that next phase. And so you're probably feeling both fear and excitement at the same time, because the spirit knows what is to come when you take that step of faith. The spirit knows you're going to be fine. The spirit is capable of carrying us and helping us, because the spirit is connected with God energy. The spirit is connected with the higher realms. And in that energy, in that higher frequency, manifestation happens easily. Like, you can just believe and ask and receive, just like what Jesus would say when he would teach, like, ask and you shall receive, believe and you know, just believe that it will happen, and it will. kind of thing. And so that's the frequency that we're moving into, which we can't really comprehend in our human mind because we're so used to work, 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 and having to have our ego be in this performance mode where we're constantly trying to make sure that everything is working out perfectly within our own mind, that we're not making the wrong step or we're not getting ahead of or behind or anything like that. But when we walk in faith and we let go of the striving mentality, the overworking mentality, the need to perform all the time, we're able to rest in the Spirit's guidance. And that is where we begin to flow in our higher self and our highest energy. So the message here, it ends here, to let go of fear and to let go of the past and align with the present moment in order to move forward. And this is where we really struggle as humans. Our egos will constantly be, and I have struggled with this, our ego constantly looking ahead and trying to figure out, what is my next step? What do I need to do? How do I get where I want to go? And the Spirit is actually saying, let us take care of that part. Just take the very step in front of yourself. If you're in the very moment that you're in right now, if you are focused in this present moment and you're releasing the future, you're releasing the past, which the past can cause anxiety and pain and all kinds of things, but the future causes anxiety and fear. The future will, when we're in our ego mind, that's where the fear comes from, is the fear of the unknown, the fear of losing control. But Spirit is saying, when you don't look to the future or the past and you're in the present moment and you are able to see the exact step that you're in and the very next step that you take, even though it may be a little foggy and you may not know exactly where your foot is going to land, trusting that there's going to be something for your foot to land on and trusting that next step. And the more you do it, the more you take a step, the more you align with your present moment, you align with your higher self, you trust the Spirit to guide you, the more that fear releases, the more you know that the next step is going to be there, even when you can't see it. And so we're in a moment of trusting, a moment of release, and a moment of death. The death is the death of the old programming, of the ego, our mindset, limiting beliefs, and fear. And in the death is rebirth. And the rebirth is abundance. And the rebirth is manifestation. And the rebirth is alignment with our true and highest self. So if you are feeling this, just like I am going to encourage you to begin to focus on the present moment and stay aligned with the trusting of the Spirit. Again, if you are a woman that is seeking out a community of like-minded other women on a spiritual path and journey, I invite you to come join our Women Awaken Circle. I will drop the link, and I will tell you, I'm going to be running a manifestation challenge in the month of August. And the reason I'm doing this is because Spirit pointed out to me that we not only have one full moon in August, we have two, and it starts at the very beginning on August 1st and the very end. So the whole month is kind of hugged with full moon energy. And if you know anything about full moon energy, it is a time for release. It's a time for letting go. And it's a time that we can really allow ourselves to take that next step, because when we let go, we can move forward. And in the middle of that, we have the new moon with which new moons are manifesting energy. So I encourage you to be watching for that challenge as well. If you are a Women Awaken member, if you come and join us, you will have a huge discount on that course. If you're not, it's still going to be very reasonable. So I invite you to come join us. Until then, I'm going to wish you all the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.